Dr. Richard Seltzer, who is a medical professional. He's a doctor and a surgeon. He wrote a book and he tells a story about a young woman laying on a hospital bed, and he's just performed surgery on her. He's removed a big tumor in her cheek, and in doing so, he had to slice through one of the little nerves that connects to her facial tissue. So that side of her face is forever going to be palsied. He describes it as clownish looking in a way. He's there with the young woman and then her young husband, and she asks the doctor, she says, "Am I going to look this way forever?" And he says, "Well, yes, this has happened because the nerve has been severed." And she looks with a note of despair in her face, and her husband looks over at her and he smiles at her and he says, "I think it's kind of cute." And the doctor says he had to look away at that point because he was being overcome with emotion. But he caught a glimpse of what happened next. The husband bent down and he kissed his wife, and he twisted his own lips in such a way to match hers, to show her that their kiss still worked. The parable of the Good Samaritan tells the story of a man who was beaten up and robbed and left to the side of the road. A priest and a Levite both walk by. They pass around on the other side, but then a Good Samaritan walks by and helps bandage him up, cleans the wounds, brings him to a hospital, pays the bill out of their own pocket. You know how this story goes, right? And Jesus tells this parable to reveal to us how bad we are at being neighbors, how easily we walk to the side of the road to avoid the messiness that is humanity. It's just easier to keep people separate than to actually be involved in their messy lives. But the good news that we discover in the gospel is that Jesus is that Good Samaritan to us. He sees us there on the side of the road with all of our inconsistencies, anxieties, and fears, and he doesn't pass around us. He comes directly to us. He reaches down, he throws us over his shoulder, he brings us to the hospital, the great physician who offers us healing. Friends, the good news for you and I today is that Jesus is drawn toward brokenness the way that a moth is drawn toward the flame.